Good evening and welcome to this new insight session from Student Financial Services. My name is Terry and I am joined by my colleagues this evening, Ben, Ava, Matt, Kevin, and Sharon, to present the information to you about unlocking the UVM billing. We hope to answer most of your questions this evening, but feel free to also contact us if we don't. Next slide, please. The agenda and format for this evening is we're going to try to help you navigate financial matters here at UVM. We will be responding to some questions that we've prepared for you, and we are also open a Q&A session so that you can ask questions specifically that you are on your mind. Next slide, please. When we open the question and answer session, it'll be about midway through our presentation. So we're going to start with billing information, and then we're going to talk about financial aid information, and then the future, looking ahead to the future. We will try to address as many questions as we can. Our teammates behind the scenes are going to try to answer some questions in the Q&A feature specifically to you. But please keep in mind that we can't answer detailed questions this evening. If you have specific information particular to your student, we'd ask that you email us directly at sfs@uvm.edu. We do have some information at our orientation page site, which is listed here. And your student, or the student that's listening this evening, we have the introductory videos on our student checklist. That's on your admission portal. Through the summer, we are here every day, Monday through Friday. The phone lines are open from 8 to 4:30, and we are here in the office from 10 to 4:30 every day. We still are here at 8 o'clock, but we're doing processing time between 8 and 10. We're located at 223 Waterman Building, that wonderful building that's behind me in this video. Next slide, please. So our first question that's prepared is, where is the bill and when is it due? Well, for the 25 fall semester, our fall semester term bills were posted online for students and authorized proxy users. We emailed those individuals saying, there's a bill out there, would you like to view it? They can then log in to view the bill. The due date is Friday, August 15th, almost a month away, and it is due at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. The reason we mention the specific time is that we can accept electronic payments up to that moment, and they will still be received by the due date. Looking ahead, the spring bills will be available early or mid-December, and those will be due by 4:30 p.m. on Friday, January 9th, 2026 for the spring semester. Next slide, please. So what we want to do is share with you ways to avoid being assessed a late payment fee and a registration hold on the student's account. No one needs to pay any additional funds. If you can make the payment by the 4:30 p.m. due date, online payments are preferred. They post immediately and it avoids delays with mail delivery. So if you can make an online payment, I'll talk in a little bit about the different types of payments. You could enroll in a monthly payment plan and complete that enrollment and make the down payment. The July 1st payment has already come due on a 5-month payment plan. If you are funding through other payment sources, let us know before the due date. Communicate about a payment plan. Notify us if you're borrowing a parent loan or a private loan. Notify us of a 529 that distribution from an educational savings fund that you are requesting to be paid directly to UVM. You can email us with your information, specify the source and the amount, and please let us know as much as possible. We can't assume that we know where the funds are coming from. We want you to avoid a $250 late payment fee and not have a registration hold on the student's account. Next slide. So for proxy users, how do I log in to see the bill? There is a specific login for a proxy, which is different than the student login, and it can get a little confusing if you're sharing a home computer. So you want to make sure you clear the browser. If the links are here on this page, you may wish to access the links from our UVM website, our web page. If you do the search button and put in proxy, it'll take you right to our page, and there will be the link for both the proxy and some information about the student login as well. Next slide. The comprehensive fee, you will see this charge on this bill for a full-time undergraduate student. The fee is $14.54 per semester. This is paid by all students, and it supports our students' success and strengthens our community by providing those services and networking and speakers that enhance the experience for the student. Next slide. I'm a proxy, but I didn't get a billing email and I can't log in. So this is a scenario where maybe the student entered your email address but didn't finish the proxy setup. And we do have to have the student's authorization in order to create that proxy status. This is their account, their part of their record here at the university. And so they decide who has access to their information. The proxy allows financial aid information and hopefully billing and account information. The student will enter your email address, but then they need to go to the authorization tab in that process, indicate the relationship is a proxy, and then check all the boxes for allowing the access to both financial aid and student account billing. Next slide. I'm a proxy and I can't log in and I'm so frustrated. How do I reset my PIN and password? So this is a few tips for you here. So your student set up your proxy with your email. So you will get an invitation in your inbox to create a PIN, a password for your proxy account. Maybe your email has changed. Maybe your student doesn't know your latest email, or there might be a typo. So if you don't have an email in your email box, check with your student. You would go to the proxy login and you would enter your proxy email address, which is shown here, and you're going to choose Forgot PIN. That will generate an email to your inbox. It's going to come from SFS Tech FA. That's our office. And in that email, there's going to be a hyperlink But before you click on the link, I'd like you to copy the action password that's just under the hyperlink. Then press the hyperlink, which will take you to a reset PIN screen. And you are going to re-enter your email address, enter your old PIN, and your old PIN that you couldn't remember is that action password. That's your temporary password. Enter that. Then you're going to create a new PIN. And it can be 6 to 15 digits. It's all numeric, no alpha. And then you'll enter it a second time and hit save. And that will take you in, and you shouldn't have any difficulty after that. But if you do, call our office or email us. We'll be happy to arrange a walkthrough. Next slide. How can I make an online payment? And this is where the screen that I wanted to talk with you about online payments. They're really wonderful in that they are immediately processed to or seen on the student account. They're immediately credited so that we know that the payment has come in. Then that payment will be deducted from your account if you do an electronic check within the next few days. So the important difference here is the electronic check, it's a direct debit to your checking or savings account, does not carry any fee. There's no fee for it. If you pay by a debit or a credit card, there is a fee. It's 2.85% charged by the card processor. So it's important to distinguish those when you are making an online payment on the account. Student and proxies can access this availability for making an online payment. They will view account and billing activity, and then they will click on make an online payment. Now, another option, say another family member or someone would like to make a payment, a contribution to the student's account, we call that a guest payer. They can also make an online payment, but they don't have access like the proxy or the student. They will need to enter the student's name and the student's UVM ID number, which begins with a 95 or a 96. That way the payment will be credited to the correct student's account. Next slide. Is it too late to start a payment plan for the fall? No, it's never too late. The monthly payment plan is available for the fall. It is a 5 payment plans beginning July 1st, and it would end November 1st for the fall semester. To enroll, there is a $60 enrollment fee. There's no interest on this plan, but what it does is it spreads out that semester amount over the 5 months of the fall semester. How much to budget? You can use our billing estimator, and that will, what will happen is you will take the charges for the full year, less the financial aid that the student is receiving and accepting if they're borrowing a loan in their name. And then it will show you the remaining balance due for the year. And so you would take and it will show you for fall and spring. So you would enter the amount that you would like to set up for a payment plan under monthly payment plan. And then you would finish the information about where the payment is going to be taken from. It's an auto debit to a checking or a credit card. And please remember, no fee for an electronic check, but there is a fee for a credit card. So up through July 21st, you can sign up for a 5-month payment plan. However, that first payment is now due for July 1. So you would be asked to make 20% down payment, pay the $60 enrollment fee, and then the 4 remaining payments would be due August 1st, September 1st, October 1st, and November 1st. If you want to do a payment plan for the spring, that plan will open as of October 1st, but the payments will be deducted December 1 through April 1, allowing you 5 months to disperse that payment over the spring semester. Next slide, please. And why have I been charged for health insurance? So every student is offered health insurance, the undergraduate students, from our Center for Health and Wellbeing at UVM. If they have not indicated that they are waiving this opportunity to have our health insurance coverage by telling us they have another policy. So the Center for Health and Wellbeing sent a notice to the student to waive the insurance by July 1st. If the student didn't respond, then they will have an insurance charge on their bill. But don't panic. You can still waive that insurance now through September 15th. Complete the online waiver form. A parent can do that from the website, or the student can do it, and enter all your insurance information in order to remove that from the bill. Keep in mind, though, if there is no response after September 15th, then that insurance fee will remain due on the account. Next slide, please. And why might the balance change after the initial bill? So there are course-specific fees related to the specific courses, labs, materials, that kind of thing. And courses will change. Students that registered for a different course, that will be reflected on the bill as they add or drop courses. If you are reviewing the bill, you can look under our current activity to see what the current balance is or what the current activity is. Please keep in mind that students, to be considered full-time, they need to be registered in 12 or more credits. So sometimes a student's waiting to add a course, and their charges may not be full-time at this moment, and the bill may not reflect that. So we would be communicating with the student to indicate, could you please tell us what your enrollment plans are so that we can let you know what the bill will be. There could be changes to the housing. Students living in the residence hall may be billed initially for one room rate, and then they move to another room assignment. So that could be a change on the bill as well. So please keep that in mind to review the billing invoice by logging in and reviewing the current activity. Next slide. Can I get an updated bill to show changes on the account? So the statement that you may see on logging in will show a point in time. It's a static as of that date, similar to a utility bill. As of this date, this is the amount due, and you would really need to look at the account and billing activity to see what is the current balance on the account, and for those charges that occurred after the initial billing on July 10th. Next slide, please. Some aid on my bill is listed as pending. What does that mean? So we want you to know what financial aid we anticipate will be received by the student. So we list federal aid as pending on the bill. If a student has accepted their direct loan, for instance, we will list that in that section, allowing the student time to complete that entrance counseling and master promissory note that Kevin will be talking with you shortly. It may be that it's too early to apply the payment. With a loan, we process federal financial aid 10 days before the semester begins. So in order for you to know what your portion or what remains due, we show that on the bill as pending. Financial aid, the grants, the federal Pell Grant and the federal SEOG grant and the direct loans, those will be posted by Friday, August 15th, if all the requirements for those funds have been completed by the student. Next slide, please. So why isn't my federal work study offer on my bill? And here I would like to introduce my colleague, Kevin, who is going to take you through some financial aid questions.
Thank you, Terry. Good evening. So students will often ask, why isn't my federal work study offer on the bill? So that's because work study is the money you earn through a part-time job. It's not the money you automatically receive upfront. Federal work study offers reflect the maximum that a student could potentially earn throughout the school year. The money is paid directly to the student as they work. Students receive a bi-weekly paycheck by direct deposit payment for the hours they work. Federal work study is never on the bill. Since you have to earn it first, it does not go toward the bill automatically that is due in August. It is really meant for the personal expense or spending money during the semester. And here's the tip. Many students save some of their fall earning to help buy books for the spring semester. Next slide, please. How do I get hired for a job through federal work study? To use your work study award, you will first need to accept it in your student portal, that My UVM portal. After that, you need to find and secure a job. There's a job board on the student employment website where you can apply. Please visit uvm.edu/student employment. Remember, you must be hired by October 1st at 4:30 p.m. to keep your work study eligibility. If you don't get a work study job, there may still be other non-work study student jobs available on campus. Next, please. So what's the difference between subsidized loan and unsubsidized direct student loan? Most students will be offered federal direct loans in their financial aid award. The difference between these loans is subsidized loans don't charge interest while you are enrolled at least half time. The government will pay the interest during that time. Unsubsidized loan do build up interest while you are in school. Interest accrues when the loan is disbursed. You have the option to make the interest payment or defer the interest payment. Anyway, the student is responsible for the interest in the unsubsidized loan while they're enrolled in school. So you will owe more money if you don't pay the interest while you're enrolled. Next, please. How do students borrow federal direct student loan? To use your federal direct loans, you need to accept or decline them in your student portal. You also must complete the loan entrance counseling and a signed master promissory note, both at student.gov, studentaid.gov. This is required before any federal loan fund can be disbursed to your account. Next. Why is the direct loan on the bill less than the award amount? When you borrow a federal loan, the government takes out a small fee. This is called an origination fee. For direct subsidized and unsubsidized loans, the fee is about 1.057%. So if you borrow $1,000, about $990 actually goes to your account. For Parent Plus loans, the fee is a bit higher, about 4.228%. So 1,000 borrowed means about 958 goes to the school. Next slide, please. Why is my community scholarship not listed on my bill? First, congratulations on receiving additional scholarships. If you have a scholarship from a community group or other source outside the UVM, make sure to let us know. Please send your award letters via email. If you receive the scholarship check, please bring it or mail it to the Students Financial Services at 223 Wortman Building. And don't forget to include your student name and ID number. Next slide. I forgot to mention that if the scholarship check is paid to the student, you may need to endorse and sign the check over to UVM. How can I use financial aid and loans to pay for the books? Sometimes your financial aid or loans will be more than your UVM bill charges. In that case, you will get a refund that you can use to buy books and supplies. Refunds are issued to students by direct deposit. So make sure to set up your direct deposit in your UVM portal. We start processing refunds the week of August 18th, but we strongly recommend that you have a plan to buy your books upfront, just in case your refund is delayed. Next slide. How do I borrow a federal direct Parent Plus loan? How much do I need to borrow? The Parent Plus loan is a credit-based federal loan in a parent's name. The parents listed on your FAFSA or a legal parent can apply at studentaid.gov. Parents can borrow up to the cost of attendance minus any other aid received. Keep in mind, there is an origination fee of 4.228%. So if you want to cover a balance of 10,000, you will actually borrow about $10,441 to cover the fee. You can use our bill estimator tool at go.uvm.edu/estimate your bill to figure out exactly how much you need to borrow. Next, please. What are the terms of federal direct Parent Plus loan? The Parent Plus loan has a 10-year repayment term, and the repayment begins after the loan is fully disbursed. However, parents can request to defer payments while the student is enrolled in school. remember you need to pay the interest accrued. For 2025-26 academic year, the fixed interest rate is 8.94%, and there's origination fee of 4.28%. Next slide, please. How can I access PLUS loan fund be used to buy the books? When a parents borrow a PLUS loan, in the application process, they can choose who gets the refund, either the parent or the student. If the refund goes to the student, it will be deposited to the student's direct deposit account on file, which is much more efficient and traceable. By the way, the bank account used for the direct deposit can be any standard US bank account, credit union account, either checking or saving. The account owner can be the student or a parent, guardian, or proxy. If the refund goes to the student or goes to the parent, a check will be mailed to the parent borrower. This extra refund can help the student pay for books and other educational expenses. Next, please. What is a private education loan and how do I learn more for it? Private loans are another option for covering your balance. These are credit-based loans offered by banks or other lenders. Private education loans can be in a parent's name or in the student name. Students usually need a cosigner. Interest rate and fees vary widely, so it is very important to compare your options. UVM offers an online loan comparison tool, ELM Select, to help you select the private education loan best for you. You can find the information and the comparison tool at go.uvm.edu/private loan. Now I will hand over to my colleague Matt, who will talk about 529 saving plan, appeals for unusual circumstances, and looking ahead to the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kevin. We'll take the next slide, please, and good evening, everyone. We do get a lot of questions about 529 plans. I've seen some come in through the question and answer section already. We've got the address up here on the screen for 529 plans. What I would emphasize is many 529 administrators are still cutting and sending our office a paper check, even if you're requesting the distribution electronically. So we recommend that you give yourself a lot of lead time to allow them to issue the check and for it to be mailed to us. And our PO box is up there, box 1306. That is our bank address, so it is in Williston, to go straight to our bank for processing. Once you request the distribution, of course, the timing of this is a little out of your hands. And, what we recommend as a result is send our office an email when you make your distribution request. Let us know how much is coming from the 529 plan so that we can note that on the student's account. And if we have that information from you ahead of time, then we're able to anticipate that even if the funds don't arrive by the due date themselves. Next slide, please. We do often get a lot of questions about from students and families who have had a change in financial circumstances. We know that the FAFSA often lags behind reality. This year's FAFSA would have captured household income from back in calendar year 2023, so almost 2 full years ago. When there's been a change in family finances, whether that's a change in household income, a change in a parent's employment circumstances, a change in a parent's marital status. We want to hear from you. We want to have a conversation about whether that would impact the student's financial aid eligibility. It's not in every case that this would change the financial aid offer, but we don't know to explore that unless you bring it to our attention. So send our office an email and give us kind of a sense of what has changed. Help us understand the timeline, when there was a change in income, when there was a change in circumstances. That will help us initiate and begin a conversation with you. We will let you know what specific additional documentation we may need to move that forward, and we'll begin to work with you on that front. Next slide, please. If we are pursuing and working with you on a financial aid special circumstances appeal, there are points when we may need additional information and documentation from you. It may be that we need a more updated tax return. For example, maybe we're looking at maybe we're capturing your 2024 tax return because that is more reflective of current family financial circumstances. We may need other sensitive documents, and we have a secure online portal which we will direct you and students to in order to upload those documents. We urge you to wait until we kind of are ready to have you upload those in our secure portal and avoid emailing our office any documents that have sensitive information, social security numbers, anything of that nature. All right, next slide, please. We will communicate with students and proxy users of the outcome of a financial aid appeal. And in many cases, or if there has been a change to a student's financial aid offer, we'll be directing the student to review their updated financial aid offer, and they may have additional action to take to accept additional funds if those have been made available. Next slide, please. This is a big one in terms of what happens if I have a pending financial aid appeal and it's pending or it's not processed and the due date is approaching. We make every effort to review appeals as quickly as possible. At the same time, these are items that I think warrant our time and attention, and so we're working to balance kind of those two needs of giving each the time it deserves and also being as timely as possible. There are points at which we are not able to complete our review of an appeal before the bill comes due. So our recommendation is to make payment plans, make arrangements to settle the bill based on the financial aid offer that you have at this point in time. That will not impact how we review the appeal. If we review the appeal and it's not finalized until sometime after the bill is due, or even in some cases into the semester, if you are eligible for funding, we will still apply those for both semesters. If you have already made payment, or if you have already made arrangements through loan financing, and after the appeal, there's additional grant funds available, we will either issue a refund or can work with you to reduce loan financing as needed. But in kind of the more immediate future, you want to be planning based on the information that you have now on a current financial aid offer. Let's see. Next slide, please. All right, we're going to change courses here a little bit. Not anything that that anyone wants to think about, but I do want to put some important dates in front of you. that are very important and relevant in the event that a student needs to withdraw. So there is a very limited period at the beginning of the semester, 2 weeks, the 2-week add drop period, where a student can withdraw and receive a full refund back of tuition and fee charges. So for the fall semester upcoming, that add drop period ends on Monday, September 8th. So this applies to all withdrawals, whether they are medical or non-medical in nature. So that September 8th date, I think an important date to keep in mind as the point at which a student can withdraw or drop their classes and not be liable for tuition and fee charges. And then you'll see after that, there is kind of another 2-week period, 1 week where a student can withdraw and receive a 50% credit back of tuition and fees, and then 1 week where they receive a 25% credit back of tuition and fees. After those 4 full weeks, so once we get to the after the 22nd of September, there is no refund of tuition and fees. Housing and meal plan charges are going to work a little bit differently. Once a student has moved onto campus and the semester has started, housing and meal plan charges for that first 4 weeks, right? So from the beginning of the semester until September 22nd, those are prorated, right? Based on the number of days the student is on campus. And again, no refund of housing and meal plan charges after the 22nd of September. We always encourage students to be in touch with our office if they are considering withdrawing to discuss how that may impact any financial aid that they have. I'm happy to walk students and families through the specific details of how a withdrawal would impact their financial aid. All right, we'll take the next slide, please. Looking forward, we just want to, I know this school year hasn't even started, and we're already thinking about how is financial aid and how are scholarships renewed in future semesters, but do want to speak to that briefly. So we do often get questions about whether families need to file the FAFSA and the CSS profile annually in order to receive scholarship funds. So UVM merit scholarships do not require the FAFSA. They do not require the CSS profile. So those will continue automatically, provided a student is meeting the core criteria, which is that they are continuously enrolled as a full-time student and they have a cumulative GPA of at least 3.0. And we evaluate that GPA at the end of the spring semester. So for a student just starting in the fall, if they end the fall semester a little under that cumulative 3.0, they will have the spring semester in order to kind of bring themselves back up above the 3.0 cumulative GPA for scholarship renewal. And one more slide, please. All right, for need-based and federal financial aid, that is something that students and families are reapplying for annually. That is through filing the FAFSA. The CSS profile will not be required for renewal of need-based financial aid for the 2026-27 school year. So the next FAFSA for fall of 26 will open in just a few months here on the 1st of October. So we will be in touch with students and families in the fall semester to remind you to begin the financial aid process for the following school year. And need-based financial aid is reevaluated annually based on changes in family finances through the FAFSA process. I will finally note that there are academic requirements to remain eligible for federal and need-based financial aid. Students do need to successfully complete at least 2/3 of the credits that they attempt So a high number of withdrawals or incompletes or failing grades can impact a student's eligibility for financial aid. And students do need to maintain a cumulative GPA based on what is required for their program. So for most of our programs and colleges, it's a 2.0 GPA. There are some programs, particularly in the College of Nursing and Health Sciences, which require that their students maintain a higher GPA for academic purposes. And so students in those programs likewise need to maintain that higher GPA for financial aid eligibility. All right, I think that we are going to pull the slides down for a few minutes here, and my colleague Sharon has some questions, has been monitoring questions that are coming in through the Q&A, and we're going to try to take as many of those as we can over the next 10 to 15 minutes and try to answer some of those as we go. So Sharon will be shouting out some questions, and I will do my level best to answer those.
All right. Thank you, Matt. We've had quite a few questions here this evening. Matt, one of the first questions that came up was some folks would like us to explain once again, should students pay interest from their unsubsidized loans while they're enrolled in school?
Sure. So on the unsubsidized loan, there will be no payment that is required while the student is enrolled in school. On that unsubsidized loan, there will be interest that is accruing. It will be kind of building there through the student's time in school. And at, so that does kind of increase the cost of the loan over that time. I do recommend that over the course of their enrollment, students periodically take a look, see, the status of the loan, what interest is out there, partly for awareness. And certainly if you are able to make a payment towards that interest, then that's going to reduce the cost of the loan to you over the long term. That's not something that you need to do like each month. It can be, once a year at the end of at the end of each year, take a look at how much interest is accrued, and then can make a decision on whether or not to pay that. It's not something you'd have to do on a semester, each month, as it were. It's just going to be, it's not being added to the principal balance each month. It's going to be just kind of building over the time of enrollment. So hopefully that helps.
Thank you, Matt. Next question is about refunds. The question is, if you are eligible to receive a refund, can you apply it towards the next semester?
Sure. So, there are times when a student will have a credit on their account. The combination of loans and other financial aid has overpaid the balance. Our default position is generally to try to issue that out as a refund. But yes, we can certainly hold a credit balance on the account for the spring semester. So if that's important to you, if that's how you want to proceed, send our office an email and kind of have the students send our office an email, kind of give us that instruction that you'd like any credit balance held for the spring semester.
Terrific. All right. The next question has to do with 529 funds. Can we pay for the bill out of pocket and use 529 funds to reimburse ourselves?
So 529 plan distributions can be either sent to the university or they can be sent to the account owner. So in short, you can certainly ask that the distribution be issued directly to you as the account owner. And you would just want to be in touch or review the resources that your plan administrator has available in terms of what, if any, documentation you may need to show that you did have qualified expenses, right? In this scenario, you've paid tuition, so you had a qualified expense, but you may want to just explore for tax purposes, kind of, okay, what documentation do I need to have to just show that I had that as a qualified expense?
All right, terrific. Next question is about loans. In this case, the parents are asking, do all private loans need to be paid to UVM before the due date? Is a commitment letter from the lender sufficient if the timing is tight?
Yeah, great question. What I will emphasize here is what is most important to us is communication from students and families. We know that funds are coming in many cases from a variety of sources, right? It may be a private loan lender, it may be an outside scholarship, and so what you want to do in that case, and sometimes these things are coming together, later in the summer, and the private loan process, there are some multiple sort of steps there. So send our office an email. Let us know what your plan is. Our plan is we're pursuing a private education loan. This is the lender that we're using. We've applied. This is how much we've applied for. That's going to give us the information that we need so that we can let you know if there's any action needed on your part. And we can make a note of that on our end so that, so that you are kind of held harmless if the details of that end up falling together after the due date. So think about the due date as we are looking for payment. So if you're making a payment directly to us, we are looking for that payment to be received by the due date, or payment information if there are funds coming from an external source. So that payment information could be the 529 plan kind of the notice that you've made that distribution request. In the case of a private loan, that payment information is here's the loan I've applied for, here are the details.
Thank you. Another billing question here, Matt. How can I calculate how much to pay or borrow?
Sure. So, if one, I would have you review the billing, the billing statement that went out to most students earlier this month. If your student is already registered full-time and all of the financial aid that you are anticipating is on there, then that would be a great resource. We do also have an online billing estimator where you can indicate, students' enrollment, where they're living on campus, what financial aid is anticipated, and use that billing estimator to estimate the balance due. And I think we had it in there earlier, but maybe one of my colleagues can just throw the link to that out into the chat again, just so that that's visible to folks online here.
All right, thank you. Payment question. Will I receive an email once you receive the checks that I mailed to your office?
The short answer is no. So if you have mailed a payment in or you're anticipating payment, then we do have, both a student and proxy user can view real-time account information through their either proxy portal or student portal, and that's where you could see receipt of recent payments.
Thank you. Another question here regarding proxy. How can I see my daughter's course schedule? I am proxy.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the proxy access is limited to financial information. So proxy users can see students' billing information, and they can see financial aid information, but they do not have access to student grades, schedules, or transcripts. So that is an area where you will need to kind of work with your student and get that information directly from them. They are the only individuals that have access into the registration system. I'm just looking at the time here, Sharon. It's
Yeah,
about 5 up. So we have time for maybe one more question and then we'll move to wrap things up here.
sure, absolutely. The last question here is about outside scholarships. So my son received a community scholarship in a check. He already endorsed it and deposited it into his account. Obviously, we can use those funds to pay his balance at UVM. Is there anything we need to do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for federal financial aid purposes, we do need to know about all resources that a student is receiving to assist with college financing. So whether a scholarship is payable to the student, as is sometimes the case, payable to UVM, or payable to, sometimes it's both the student and UVM. You do need to notify our office of that so that it can be incorporated into the financial aid offer. And you can do that by sending our office an email or emailing us a copy of the scholarship award letter. I know we often get questions about, well, how will that impact financial aid? For the vast majority of students, those outside or community-based scholarships are reducing what the student or family would otherwise need to pay or borrow. But of course, every student's scholarships and financial aid situation are unique. So encourage students and families to contact us directly so that we can review the specific impact. But in that case, in the case of a scholarship paid to a student directly, we would have you just notify us of that scholarship and amount. And I think with that, we're going to, Sharon, I'm going to throw it over to you and we're going to put a QR code up for folks to scope out.
Thank you so much, Matt. Yes, I'd like everyone tonight to pull out your phone to access this QR code and respond to our survey. We're always looking for ways to improve for our students and families, and your feedback is greatly appreciated. Just take a few minutes, if you don't mind, and give us some feedback. We had quite a number joining us this evening. Hope everyone spent the time, got questions answered. And if you do have more, we are here for your questions. And I'll just give it another 30 seconds here. And then we're going to put up our contact information once again. And since your phone is out, you could take a photo of that as well. And that way you'll have it handy. All right, if we can switch to the next slide, please. So thank you once again for taking some time this evening to learn more about the work we do here at Student Financial Services to support students and their families. We do look forward to seeing you here on campus in just a few weeks. And this recording will be posted on the new Student Insight Sessions page. So if you do have additional questions, you can review this PowerPoint, or you can reach out to our website, to our team via our main email, which is sfs@uvm.edu. If you're here on campus, you'll recognize this building right away. We are downstairs towards the center of the building, and our offices are open Monday to Friday from 10 to 4:30. We're open all summer. We're here preparing for all the students to arrive, and again, here for your questions. Thank you so much, everyone.